Let's go.
So we are recording. This is our nutrition talk, but there's a little bit of everything in these little talks because we definitely know that this journey has to do with mindset, fitness, community, and nutrition, right? So I'm gonna go ahead, kick it off for just a few minutes, and then I'm handing it over to Stacy. I love that Christina's here with us live. Jackie was on, but she logged off. I don't know if it's her Wi-Fi. All right, so let's get started. So what I wanted to talk about today was, well, first of all, if you're new to the group, welcome aboard. This is our Fit Fam, and we absolutely love everyone that's in here. We love you where you're at. Please know this is a super safe space, and our journey is about one day at a time. We are
Amen.
in here with a mission of just looking for progress and not perfection. And that's why these calls are great because we get to talk about things that maybe we struggle with, and sometimes it's just tips to take away. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen really quick. I'm gonna show you just a couple of little things that maybe you guys can take away. This for me is my monthly topic. Okay, so we will bring another topic in 2 weeks, but right now this is where my focus is at. So basically, Autumn Calabrese in the monthly fix talked about happiness hacks. And I thought it was so cute because in February,
Oh,
we're kind
yeah.
of all happy because it's the love month. So she talks about how our bodies create natural hormones that can increase feelings of happiness. And I love the way she teaches us how to trigger them below. So if you want the dopamine hormone, that is, she calls it the reward chemical, you basically get that by completing a task, that feeling of achievement, doing self-care, maybe, getting a massage or a mani and pedi, anything that you feel, it could even be a bubble bath, is self-care.
Mm.
Eating food, especially clean foods, right? We don't think that this reward chemical is, serving us when we eat all this food that is going to make us feel sluggish later. But yes, eating food does, release dopamine, and I think it's awesome that we can just create habits of healthy foods to consume. And then celebrating little wins, guys. Today, Autumn, in the workout that I did, she talked about how even just setting up your space in your workout is a small win where it doesn't frustrate you as you're going along in your workout. All right, let's move on to the love hormone. If you play with your dog, and I know for sure that that works because every time I want some loving, I just look at my little Toby and I'm like, come here, boo boo. And that just absolutely just, makes me feel all the love. Listen or creating music. Yes, I'm a big music lover, and that is definitely my go to at all times of the day. Doing something nice for someone, we all know that that's very fulfilling, very rewarding, and giving a compliment, right? So, those are great little tips that you can take away if you want to feel that love hormone. Let's go now to the mood stabilizer. Meditating, big thing
Mm.
right there, right? We
Big,
know
huge.
I've learned that's huge. Yes.
Yeah.
I've learned that meditating, not only is it a mood stabilizer, but it makes me feel completely in control with my anxiety. I center myself. It's almost like a recalibration. And I have learned that every time that I get stressed, guys, I just remind myself, go back to your breath. Go back to your breath. That is an absolute way to center yourself. Sun exposure.
Good.
I don't know if you girls know, but I started doing a challenge for 75 days where I have to force myself to go outside for 45 minutes. I'm doing it with my kids. We are on day 18, and it is a natural mood enhancer.
Well, that's a good
Well,
idea.
yeah, it's really, really good. And they're enjoying it. At 5 o'clock, they're like, Mom, it's
Oh, is that the
time.
bike ride?
It's the bike ride. Yep.
Oh, I love
Yep.
that.
Yep. And we're
Nice.
spending 45 minutes of quality time talking while we're on our bikes. Love it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So if you don't have a bike, you could always walk in nature. Stacy calls it a sun bath, a nature bath. I love it
Yes. Yes.
because you're basically just taking that in, swimming and cycling. So those are great little tips that you could absolutely take away to stabilize your mood. And then the last one, she calls it the painkiller. This is the endorphin where laughter absolutely takes away pain. At
Yeah.
that moment, your brain doesn't even register the pain. Watching a comedy show or something that has to do with comedy, eating dark chocolate, and what do you know? Exercising. So, those are my happiness hacks for you today. I hope they help you. Take a screenshot, write them down however you want, and I'll add it to the group. But definitely, these are great little tips that you could even keep on your phone under your like favorites or under your notes. And whenever you need a certain hormone that you're like, yes, I need this, go to this checklist. All right, guys.
Great idea.
So that is what I have for you today. And we will answer any questions at the end regarding nutrition and fitness. But right now, Stacy has another great topic for us. Stace, passing it over.
Yes. Okay. So I was thinking, because our group, if the topic is transition, right? And our group made a huge transition that we've never done before, which was literally say completely goodbye to Facebook and transition over to BOD. And when I made the decision to move my team over to BOD, I mean, it really did start when we were this time a year ago, was when Susie and I were in Los Angeles because we had hit 1-star and BOD had just launched. And it was very exciting, but I remember going like, I don't know if I want to go over to BOD. I was like, I love Facebook. Because I had been there for so long, and I started thinking in the last 2 to 3 months of when I made my decision to leave my other comfort zone, which was my hair salon that I had been at for 13 years. And I was very much afraid to take the leap and go solo, independent, LLC, all that stuff. It was very scary because that's all I had known. But what I know from that leap was that it got better. And what I know from that leap is that you got to leap to fly. And you are not allowed to stay complacent in this world. And you're not allowed to stay stagnant. And you're not allowed to, you have to have some voice in your future, not by somebody else. And so with that being said, when I made the decision, a lot of people actually thought in my group that it was for political reasons. And it was very parallel at that time. They're like, oh, are you leaving because of the whole thing? And I was like, no. I was like, I could care less. But what I saw was a lot of people needed this social media break, right? And from the break, which I respect and I completely understood, they weren't engaging in the group because the group was part of the social media atmosphere. And as a leader and as somebody who, as a coach, I'm no different than a challenger, but I do believe a coach just kind of goes first. And then okay, I'll just do it. And you guys, let's follow suit. It just made me realize, I got to do this. We got to move forward, because if we leap into here, I think it's going to level us all up. We're going to get away from other people. We're going to get away from scrolling. We're going to get away from maybe all of that other stuff that just kind of clouds us and fogs us up a little bit. And we're in here for a reason. I know we're in here for scale victories. I get all that, but really we're not. I mean, what we're really in here for is to build the backbone of belief into our souls. That's what I think we're here for. I think we're here to hear our voices. I think we're here to accept our voices. I think we're here to knock down limiting beliefs that we've built up since we were children, and gain amazing friendships and realize that you have purpose. And that is a transition that we all need. And from that, it was an easy decision. And I'm so thankful that we did it. And we're still getting the girls over. We're still getting everybody over. And some people are still posting on Facebook, which is great. But transitions are always going to be a pit in the belly that makes you super nervous, whether you want to lose 10 pounds or whether, maybe your goal is to gain a backbone and let go of a wishbone for your life. Those are transitions, right? And it's scary. And I've never been part of a transition that isn't scary. And if you think about it, we've all done 1,001 transitions. For example, schooling, you've been doing that since preschool, kindergarten, first, second, third. We've all had all of these transitions. And sometimes we do them so effortlessly because it's just the way we go. But when we have to actually level up, it's a hard transition because you have to build belief into yourself. And I want you to know that in this bod group, right, it just kind of speaks volume for transitions. Like, are there things in your life right now that you want to transition? And we can write in the chat, or we can on mic. There's a small group tonight, which is great because small groups make it more intimate. And I feel that we can really connect on a deeper level here. But transitions can really make you see clarity, can make you see where you need to shine the light on. And I will say this because I want everybody to gain this access. What you think is negative in your life is certainly not negative. You have to, that's a crowd following phrase. It's a crowd following phrase. And we're going to use my dad on that one tonight. It's a crowd following phrase. What if it was your gift? What if it was your greatest lesson? Because God or the universe, whatever you believe it, however you see it, doesn't matter, an energy. If you keep getting that same lesson, you have to learn to transition into it. Breathe into it, exhale into it. And sometimes it's painful and sometimes it's bliss. But it's all part of that growth, because we are supposed to be the best versions of ourselves before we leave this world. So there is a lot of work to be done. And that's the beautiful gift, is the work. But a lot of people will run from it, right? We'll run from losing the weight. We're going to run from the Shakeology. We're going to delay it. We're not going to grab the containers. We're not going to dive into the personal development because it's scary to transition into believing into you. Can we get an amen on that? And that makes me teary-eyed because we deserve to buy into ourselves. I always tell my people, you need to buy into you. This is where you get, now you have tools to work on the physical, right? Now let's go into the spiritual. And that's why our group is so beautiful. But it's also like, you want to vomit, like, because you have to literally about face and look in the mirror and go, I got to do it. You don't want a therapist to do it. You don't want your friend to you. Let me tell you something. You know how people say to you, have you ever heard this? Do you talk to yourself and you go, yeah, all the time? And then you say, someone will say to you, well, I hope you don't answer yourself back, right? You know what I say to them? Of course I answer myself back. Are you freaking kidding me? I have genuine, real, awesome conversations with myself where my daughter goes, Mom, are you talking to yourself again? And I go, yep. And I usually do it in the bathroom. And I literally answer myself back. And what that tells you is, and we've all done it, y'all have done it, you do have the answers. You do have it all inside of you. Now, this group and this community, when you post a selfie, you might think it's just posting a selfie. No, it's not, my friends. It is about posting belief into your soul. You want to take every tool that we have into a deeper meaning, because that's the transition that we want for you guys. That's what we want you to breathe into. And let me tell you, we're going to be doing that until you can't do it anymore. There is no finish line. But life is about unwiring a lot of deep-seated stuff, right? To become your greatest self. Those things that you think are negative are actually what you're supposed to open up into the textbooks of you and study and learn the lesson and pass the exam for your life. If we can adopt this kind of mentality and stop the crap that is, it's negative, it's awful, blah, 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 da, 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 beat up a boo, right? It's like, pay attention to everybody else around you. They all talk that talk. They all walk that walk. And that is a pandemic. That is a disease. That is yucky. If you want to be different, we got to take all of those things and go, but you know what though? It's going to be my gift. It's going to be my transition. And transitions are painful, but they're bliss too. So we have to remind ourselves of that. And that's really kind of where I just wanted to like punch it in tonight. And when I have something on my heart, it's because I'm not preaching to you. It's because I'm preaching to myself, because I need it. And if I need it, then I'm claiming it. And I hope that it's the oxygen that you need to breathe in too, and solidify it. And so that's really what I wanted to come across tonight to you girls, and just see if that resonates with you, or do you see something, did something strike you with that? Because when I have these deep thoughts, it's hard to like, I get nervous too. I'm like, does anybody understand this language that I'm speaking? Because it is a language. It's a self-love language. And most people don't know how to speak self-love.
Yeah. So I love that, Stacy. It's really about digging deep. So I'm gonna, Christina, do you give me permission to put you on the spot? Just to
Ooh.
ask you a question regarding transition. Do you mind? Yeah. So before Christina comes back, or she's coming right back, okay. I kind of wanted to ask her based on what Stacy said, Christina, so that our people can hear also from someone, who's not preaching, right? So I don't know how long you've been doing this lifestyle. If you want to give me a little background, you can, but can you share with us, how did you transition from being a person that wasn't doing this into now doing this? Because when I get new customers, there's some that really jump on the board and they're like, I get it. But then there's some that buy the package and then they're like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't even know what to do. And I find that they don't transition, like Stacey said, into saying, I'm going to take the time. I'm going to look at what my package brought and I'm going to just start somewhere with a baby step. Can you, I'd love for our audience to hear from someone other than Stacey and I, so that they see that, you're a random, customer that just decided to make the change. How did you transition? Can you guide us?
Yeah. I shut the door because my daughter is listening to some rap music and there might be some cussing, so I had to shut that so nobody could hear it. Um, yeah, I mean, I kind of was the same way. I had done several different Beachbody programs in the past. I bought the DVDs, obviously before BOD was a thing. And when I actually decided to join again, in my opinion, was like for the 100th time or whatever. And I was like, I didn't tell anybody about it. I just started and I was in kind of a really rough spot. My boyfriend and I were going through something really rocky. We were actually splitting or discussing, splitting and things like that. And so I was like, I have to do something for myself. Like I have to find me again, because I realized over the last several years, I kind of lost myself. In that time I had lost my mom. Things were just really hard. So I decided I'm going to try one more time and I'm going to actually do the program. I'm going to actually listen to my coach. I'm going to do what she says. And I started off really great. And then, because I was so overweight, like I hurt my ankle or my knee, I can't remember which one. And so I was like, oh, I can't do this. I went to the doctor and he's like, well, don't work out for a little bit. And I was like, okay, so of course inside I was like, well, here it goes again. I've started. Now I got to stop. So I was talking to Stacy and I was just like, I don't know what to do because I can't work out right now. I'm trying to, get my leg better or whatever. So she was like, okay, well, are you doing your nutrition or whatever? I was like, well, kind of, I have the containers, but they're in my cabinet. And I had like 3 sets of containers, probably 4. And she's like, well, like, why are they in your cabinet? Like, let's get them out where you can see them every day. She was like, what about your Shakeology? And I was like, well, it's hit or miss. Some days I do it, some days I don't. And she's like, well, let's start with that. Like, let's start with Shakeology. And I was like, okay. She was like, I don't even give a shit about your workout right now. She was like, let's get you doing one thing. And I was like, okay. So she was like, set a timer on your phone and every morning at whatever time, pick a time. She was like, and have your Shakeology. And I was like, okay. And I was like, she doesn't want me to work out? Like, I'm really confused right now. And so I was like, okay, I won't work out, fine, And then so I did a timer, started doing my Shakeology every morning at like between 7:30. And even to this day, 2 years later, 2 years later, a little over 2 years, I still have my shake in the morning. I don't set a timer anymore because it's just natural. It's a habit. And the only times that I might skip in the morning is like on a weekend, if we like sleep in or if we're like all home together and we do like a big breakfast or something, then I have it for lunch. But I mean, I remember it. Like, I'm like, oh, I got to get that in. I got to get it in. So I started doing that and I just did one thing. I just had Shakeology every day. That was all I did. then once I started feeling a bit better, I was like, okay, I'm going to get my stuff going. And I went to a doctor and they were like, we've got to get this weight off. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying, and so I started back in, and I had originally bought the T20 package with a step and everything. And she was like, don't go back to that right now. She was like, try something that's different, that's easier. So I did 21 Day Fix. So I did 21 Day Fix a couple of times. And then I just had it in me, and I was like, I have to finish T20 because it's what I started with. And that's just what I did. And I did the containers. I started actually getting them out, leaving them on my counter, looking at them, eating from them, and paying attention to what I was supposed to be doing. And then I just kept doing it, just on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. And that's just what I did. And over time, things with myself got better. I found me again. I became that strong, independent person that I was. I started bringing myself back. And my boyfriend and I are still together. I mean, we worked things out. We worked things through. I think it was just, I was miserable. So I made a relationship, we were miserable together and we didn't even realize it. And then, it's just now like a habit. I actually, I don't do the containers anymore. I do the 2B mindset. But I like both of them. I mean, I really do like both. They're different for a reason. And I was just like, I kind of got to a plateau with the containers, in my opinion. So someone else was like, well, try, 2B mindset. And I was like, oh, I forgot that there was actually 2 nutrition programs. So you're not even stuck with one way, you get 2. And so you can choose, and you can go back and forth if you feel like one's not really working for you, or you can't get it to work for you. But I actually seriously, Stacy was like, screw all the other crap, drink your Shakeology every day. And that's what I do. And
I love it, Christina. Thank you so much. Because first of all, you take us through how you transitioned. It was, you needed to find yourself. So you made the transition of saying, okay, I'm going to do it this time. You listened to your coach. Stacy gave you, in my opinion, the best advice, because nutrition is more than half the battle. So that's exactly where she helped you. And then you transitioned with a baby step of saying, okay, I'm going to drink my Shakeology. From there, okay, I'm going to take on my containers. From there, then you tried the workout program. So it's all, and I love how now you remind us that when a nutrition program is not serving you, you can flop over to the other one, because there are different seasons and stages in our lives, and we go through certain things. So I love it, Christina. Thank you for sharing that, because I want people to see how we do transition in our own health and fitness journey.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so glad that Stacy touched on this topic. Stace, can I ask you one more question before we close it out? Because I know that you and I agreed we were going to try to keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, baby.
So how do you best help your customers transition when they are struggling?
I think that the one of the things that I how do I say it? The first thing is I need them to show up. I'm going to just be blunt. They need to show up. And that's the scariest part. My prayer with these women, because there's a lot of women that make these purchases, and some of them might be listening on these cell phones tonight on our live videos. What I don't want, and my prayer is for them to make a purchase and put it in the corner, because for me, that is a representation of almost putting yourself in a corner. And I don't want that. So I know it's scary. It's scary to make the purchase. I think that's half the battle, but it's also scary to actually begin. And I think sometimes we think we have to go all in to be in. And that's the furthest from the truth, putting a shake in. And so what I try to do is I really try to connect with them prior to the purchase, now more than ever, because I've learned I need to know what this means for you. I need to know beyond the scale. I need to know every non-scale reason why, and I need to connect emotionally to it, but I need you to connect to it emotionally, because I think that's that's what I've learned as a coach, is that if I start there, I think there's more success. But I also want to build people being the hero of their own story and the leader of their own life. And so I do expect them to show up. They need to post, because I am also too the girl that was 50 pounds heavier. And I think sometimes that gets lost in the shuffle. And I get that, because that's a natural transition, right? But I'm still fighting for the 50-pound heavier set girl who lost her dad to suicide. I still have to show up for her. And so the first step is, I need to know your why. I need you to know your why. And then I'm very bold in my love for them. And I tell them, you're never going to find anything better than what's in here. And you're getting an opportunity to be that leader of your life. And I know it's scary, but know that I'm doing it with you. And I think that's something that they need to know, is I'm doing it with you, not above you. I'm not doing anything above you. I'm probably sometimes below you some days, right? So I think to answer that is, I want them to know that I'm right there with them. Like, we call each other, Suzette and I call each other wing girls. And there's a reason for that. And if the more of us can dive into these groups and actually do a post and actually do your personal development and take those baby steps, literally a post will save your life. I know that sounds very silly, but it really isn't silly, especially when you're having a bad day and you need some people to rally against you, or not against you, but with you. My big thing is, you got to know your why, and you got to show up. And I don't care how little you show up, a shake a day, a personal development a day. I don't care if you did a workout. I want you to take your purchase and look at yourself and say, I'm purchasing me. And now I'm going to build investment into me, and I'm going to build equity into me, because I effing deserve it. And you may not believe it in the beginning, because we have a lot of unwiring to do. And I think that's where we get tripped up, is that we have a lot of internal work to do. Don't you dare worry about the scale. Screw the scale. Screw the scale. Worry about getting the weight out of here, because that's where the beauty comes. And then everything else will fall into place. But we got to get them past their quit zone. And that's a challenging thing to do, but we got to show up.
No, absolutely. And I love that, because at the end of the day, they do need to know what their why is, because I need to know what my why is every day.
Yeah.
All right. So in closing, one more question that I'd love to ask you, just because I personally have a few customers that are struggling with this, and maybe, we can leave them tonight with this. So the topic was transitioning. So I am someone who just bought my package. I've never used the containers before. I'm a super busy mom of 3. I come to you and I say, Stace, got my package. Don't know where to even start. I can't seem to find the time to dig into the containers. I haven't read the Get Started guide. I don't even know how to log into BOD. How do you help them transition, Stacy? Give me your top 3 tips that these ladies can take away today, in case if they are struggling tonight.
Mm-hmm. First thing is, I'm going to tell you what I did. I think it's the only way that I can do that for you. And Christina, I love that you kind of called her on it, because I literally, when I had my daughter, Kenzie was 3 months old. She's now 5. I was just as busy, and everybody's busy, just for the record, right? So we got to let that other following their phrase go, because that puts brakes on your life. Great, you're busy. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Good. Now let's move forward, right? And I say that with love. I really do. I got a sticky pad, a little sticky note, little, and I go into my medicine cabinet every day. So when I started, I wrote on a sticky tab. I literally still have it on there, with a picture of me and John when I was 17 years old and he was like 20, 21. I wrote, just see what keep going looks like. I did not give myself a deadline. I knew I wanted to lose 30. That was my goal, but I didn't care when I lost it. I didn't put any pressure. And then a shake a day. I went downstairs in the morning. I made my shake. I came upstairs. I grabbed my beautiful daughter and I changed her diaper and I nursed her. And as I was nursing her, I literally had my shake. And then I realized in that moment that I was doing something for me, but I was also doing something for her. And I got excited, but it was really honestly just a shake a day, just seeing what keep going looks like. And I just posted in my in the page. I just did what my coach told me to do. And she was like, don't worry about the containers. I was so worried about other things. Like, I really love Diet Coke. She's like, drink your damn Diet Coke, Stacey, and have your Shakeology. Why do you think you have to let go of all these things? And she was my friend from high school, so she could really talk to me. So I think that was my best. And that's why I talk to my people as if I've known you too from high school. And I think that's the best way that I know how to create the love language. So just see what keep going looks like, because you already know what quitting looks like. You already know what cutting corners looks like. You already know what failure looks like. So you got to keep going. And a shake a day, literally.
Shake a day mindset, which is just keep going.
Yep.
And re-engage in the group. Start posting. Start asking questions.
Yep.
How do I get into bod?
That's
Anyone want to work out? You've got to lean in. Like my
Yep.
other success partner, Becky, says, you've got to jump right in the middle of the bed. You really do. I get
Yep.
that. All right, Stace, I appreciate all the information you've given us. Christina, loved having you on tonight.
Loved it. Loved it.
You know, help us out. I love it. We need to do this a little bit more, because I love when other people like really say this work this has been doing.
And I like that Susie like interviews people on these. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I was like, okay.
Okay.
I know.
You know, I think that
Okay.
people learn best that way. You know,
I felt like I needed a microphone. Like I was.
Ooh, we should get microphones. That would be
but
good.
but isn't it cool how when you're put on the spot, you're genuine, you're real, you say what you know, it's not planned. It's not like this fake answer. You're giving from your heart. And I think that that's where when people learn best and they take away best, you know?
Yeah.
So I love it. All right, ladies, this was awesome. We're keeping it under 30 minutes, more or less. So I appreciate you. I love doing this with you. We will see you again in 2 weeks, and we'll have another topic, more questions and answers. If you have any, please drop it in the thread. We'll post a recording. Otherwise, we cannot wait to see what February brings. We're going to crush it. Stace, as always, you're the best co-host. Love you, girl.
God, love you too.
Ladies, and we will talk soon. Bye, ladies.
Bye.